Darts Premier League is nearly upon us. Starts on the 1st of February. This is a highly anticipated tournament with high quality players ready to go toe to toe. At the time of recording, they have announced the first week of matches. So I think it's time to preview this year's tournament, going through each competitor and eventually getting to who I think the final four will be, and then the winner. This year's tournament consists of world number 1, Luke Humphries, world number 2, Michael van Gerwen, world number 3, Michael Smith, world number 4, Nathan Aspinall, world number 5, Gerwyn Price, world number 6, Rob Cross, world number 8, Peter Wright, and world number 31, 16-year-old Luke Littler. Now, Norbit, the world number 7, is the only player not involved who is currently in the top 8. And as you can see, he's replaced by the sensational 16-year-old Luke Littler. Anyway, let's get cracking. Let's go for each player and see what their chances fare for this year's tournament. We're going to start with the sensational 16-year-old Luke Littler. Now, he has really transformed the sport in the eyes of the public who don't normally watch it. A 16-year-old who's dominated on the Youth Tour and the Modus series for the past year or years, and showed what he's about and nearly winning the World Championship, getting to the final. They made a decision to put him in the Premier League. I think by quality, I think it's the right decision. Let's hope he doesn't, receive burnout. He went to the Bahrain Masters, which is a part of the World Series Tour. The top 8 players considered in the world. Obviously, it considered the 8 players that are in this Premier League taking on 8 qualifiers around the Asian area. And Luke Littler won it, and he hit 9 darter as well. So if he continues how he's playing, he's going to be a strong favourite here. I think it'd be silly to think he won't make the top 4 just based on what we've seen so far. We know every player can beat him, but we know, apart from Humphries, I think it's obvious right now he can beat everyone. And of course, he can beat Humphries. So he's going to be a strong favourite to do well here. And if he carries on, he's going to be one of the greatest players ever. I know that's a long time away, but let's hope he has a good showing here, and I think he's definitely someone to look out for. Peter Wright, I'll keep it short with Peter Wright. He's a world-class player. He got down as a legend. But outside the European Championship last year, he had an abysmal year. He's dropped to world number 8, out in the first round, in theory, in the World Championships. And he's never really done it in the Premier League. Now, he could shock us. He's got the ability, but unfortunately, he seems to change his darts way too often, and that's his major problem. So even though I feel he's got the quality to do it, I think that at this time he's not going to do anything to get to the top 4. And I think ultimately he might be a player that could be down the bottom. Let's go to the world number 6, Rob Cross, a player who's been left out of this the years gone by. But this year he's back after a solid year. He's won multiple majors over the last couple of years, former world champion, and he had a good performance in the World Championships, getting to the semi-final. A player that on his day could be anyone, a player that probably gets underlooked at times, but is a player who's very dangerous, and definitely a player that I think could get to that finals night, especially if he gets on a roll and starts well. We now go to Gerwyn Price. Listen, I'm not doubting Gerwyn Price's ability, but for me, if you look at how he's played over the last 5 to 7 years, he's underachieved. He should have won so much more than what he's won. Former world champion when no one was watching. A player that, again, apart from last year's final, he's never really done it in this tournament. There was a period after the World Championship and the Masters where he was the best player in the world, but what did he win? Nothing. So, yeah, he won the World Cup last year, but he's got to start winning more. We know he's got the ability, we know he's got the bottle, and he's going to be a player that if he can play at his form, he'll beat anyone, and he'll be in the finals night, but we'll see. Nathan Aspinall. Look, Nathan Aspinall's had a very good, solid couple of years. He won, in my view, the second biggest title last year in the match play. He seemed to have lost a bit of form after that. He decided not to play in the Players' Championship, and he ultimately got knocked out in the first round. But he's proven time and time after again he's got the ability in the bottle to battle with anyone, and he's definitely going to be a dark horse here. Is he good enough to get to the final 4? I think he'll definitely be in the hunt for it. We'll see. We now go to Michael Smith, a player, for me, he had an absolutely terrible year last year. Won the World Championship, looked unbeatable. He went and won the Bahrain Masters and then did nothing. Changed his darts. I feel that's part of the reason. I don't know where it's gone. He just doesn't seem to be consistent. Can't seem to play well, with 2 games in a row. If he shows up, he'll beat anyone and he'll be one of the favourites. But I'm basing it on current form, and I think he'll be a player that he'll either be boom or bust this year. It all depends how he starts. If he can get a run of form and a bit of confidence going, we know he can do it. Michael Van Gerwen. Well, we know how good Michael Van Gerwen is. I don't need to tell you, he's one of the greatest players of all time. Probably the second best player of all time. You know, he hasn't been a tournament over the last 3 or 4 years, but he's still been able to win tournaments. And he won this tournament last year. And he'll be one of the favourites, regardless what happened against Luke Littler, regardless what happened against Scott Williams. We know if he shows up, gets to a point where he can win, he's got the bottle and he's got the game and he's got the ability to win it. So I'll be very shocked that Van Gerwen didn't make the top 4. And do you know what? I would be surprised if he finished the group top. And finally, the world champion, world number 1, Luke Humphries. What a year it's been. To be fair, he's been a consistent player now for a long time, making his debut in the tournament like Luke Littler. But obviously, unlike Luke Littler, Humphries is a veteran on this tour. He's a multiple major winner, and he is, of course, the world number 1 and the current world champion. And for me, even with what Luke Littler's done in the last couple of weeks, Humphries is the man to beat. If he played like he's played in the last few months, he's going to be hard to beat, and I expect him to qualify for the Final 4. So who do I think the Final 4 will be? Well, I've always given away a couple. Luke Humphries, Michael Van Gerwen will finish 1st and 2nd. I think Luke Littler will get that 3rd place. And I'm going to go with Gerwyn Price, just edging it over Aspinall and Michael Smith. That means Gerwyn Price will take on Luke Humphries. I think Luke Humphries wins that one. And Michael Van Gerwen versus Luke Littler. Who do I think wins that? I'm going to go for Luke Littler. Going to be a repeat of the World Championship final. Luke Littler versus Luke Humphries. Who do I think is going to win it? I'm going to put my hat on there. Luke Littler wins the Premier League. If he plays like he's playing, don't get me wrong, he won't win every game. But I just have that feeling that experience in the World Championship, I think he'll benefit to leg format. I think he'll like leg format. And I think, don't be surprised if he doesn't make the Final 4, but I'll be gobsmacked at the same time. I think he wins it. He beats Luke Humphries in the final and will win this year's Premier League.